Hello and welcome to the Geek Legion Doom. I'm recording this video on the 1st of January 2019. Happy New Year to you all. And I'm going to be looking at the financial success and that thereof of certain blockbuster movies of 2018. Now on the 1st of January 2018, I actually did a video predicting what I thought would be the box office hits, misses and mares. And now I'm going to have a look back and tell you what the kind of the grosses was of the majority of blockbuster films and how they ranked against my predictions. Now just to explain how this all works, now this will get a little dry, I pre-warn you, because we're going to be talking about finance at the end of the day. So when you look at a film's production value, it's going to say, for example, $100 million. That is the cost of making the actual physical movie. However, that's not the entire costs of the movie, because then you have to factor in marketing, and also when you play films on cinemas, they take a portion of the basically the costs. So if a film has a production value of 100 million, for example, the basic rule of thumb is you have to double it and then add a little bit more on as well for the marketing. So for example, a film that will have a 100 million production budget would need to make 230 million to kind of break even with all the costs kind of done. So that's kind of what we're working towards, and it's kind of rough math. It's not exact. I don't know the exact budgets of what they spent on marketing and stuff like that. So we're going to have to kind of go with some rough maths, if that makes sense. But I'll kind of go through it, and I'll put graphics up as well, kind of to help you kind of go through it. So we'll go off, and I'll kind of explain as we go. So we'll start off in no particular order. This just happens at the order I kind of said in the last video. And we'll start off with Venom. Now Venom had a 100 million production budget, so they needed to do about, say, 250 million to break even. They actually did 855 million. So this was actually a hit, and I predicted this movie would be a hit. The next one we're going to look at is The Meg. Now this had a production budget of around 130 million, so I would predict they need around 300 million to kind of break even. They actually did 315, so this was a kind of a moderate success. This is what I class as a meh. It's a little bit of money, they've made a little bit of money back, or it could even be somewhere where they've just not made quite enough, but it's not far off. So I class this as a meh. So it's done a meh, it's done a meh results basically. So that's what it did. I actually predicted it would be a bomb, however. Mary Poppins 2. Now this one is actually still playing, so this could change. So we can only kind of go based on what it said. It had a production budget of 130 million, which means it will have to do about $300 million to actually kind of break even. It's currently done about $175 million. I actually think this will come just shy of its 300 million kind of mark. I mean, it still might, it's difficult to say, it's still kind of going on, but I think this is more of a Christmas movie. I don't think it's going to get much play after Christmas. So I actually predicted this would be a mess, so kind of more or less on budget. It's too early to say for definite where it'll end up, so we'll kind of have to kind of just see how that one goes. But it's kind of, I think it's on track to be a meh, about probably making its kind of budget back, but either not much more or just falling very slightly behind that. Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom, this had a 170 million production budget, so you would need to do about 360 million when it's all said and done to break even. It actually pulled in 1.3 billion, so it's obviously a big hit, and I predicted it will be a hit as well. Ready Player One, this came out towards the beginning of the year. It actually had a fairly high production budget of 175 million, so I estimate it would need to do about 400 million to kind of break even. It did 582, so it was a hit, although it wasn't a huge hit. I predicted it was a mess. So it did about, it did about 180 in profit, so that is a hit, but it's not like a, block massive kind of like huge amounts of money. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, again, like Mary Poppins, this one is still playing, so you can't quite say exactly where this is going to end up. It had a production budget of 90 million, and it will probably need to do about 220 million to kind of break even. It's currently done not far off that, 213 million. So I predict it will make a moderate profit. I said back in the last year I think it would be a meh. So again, just kind of, I'll probably do just over that. I don't think it will get much past 300, so it's still to be confirmed on that one, but I think it will probably top out around just under 300 million, but we'll see. Solo, this is one where I was way off. So when I did my video last year, I didn't realise how big the budget had got because of the extensive reshoots. So the actual budget of that movie was 300 million. That's the production budget. So the actual, what they would need to break even, you're looking more along the lines of kind of like 600 to 660 million. And it did 392 million. So that was a legitimate bomb. And I actually thought this would be a hit, because I thought people would kind of embrace this because it was going back to more of the kind of the traditional sort of Star Wars after The Last Jedi. However, that wasn't the case. Aquaman, again, this one is still playing in cinemas, so it's difficult to tell, but this one is legitimately a hit. So let's talk about it. Its production budget was around $160 million. So if you factor in marketing and the cinema cuts, they would need to do about 340 million to kind of break even. They've already done 751 million. So even at this point, and it's still not finished its run, you can legitimately say this is a hit. I actually thought this would be a bomb, however. I thought it would be kind of continuing with the kind of the DC of downward spiral. But alas, it has actually kind of pulled it back up to become a hit. Avengers Infinity War, this is probably the most slam dunk of them all. It had a high production budget of 321 million, and that would need to do a whopping kind of like 700 odd to kind of like to break even. But it's done over 2 billion in the worldwide box office. That's what we're talking about here. So it's a hit, and I predicted it would be a hit. Let's cover an easy one. Wrinkle in Time. This one came out towards the beginning of the year and had 100 million production budget. And with the kind of marketing and the cuts for the cinema, I would predict it would need to do about 250 million to kind of to break even. It actually did 132 million worldwide, so that was a legitimate bomb, and I predicted it would be a bomb. Deadpool 2. Now, for note, this is not including the kind of the re-release, which had the extra Christmas footage. Its production budget was 110 million, which is actually quite a lot higher than the original movie. So you would need to do 260 odd million to kind of like break even on that one on a worldwide basis. It did 740 million, so it was a legitimate hit, and I think it's done about 10 million added on for this this new version. So yeah, it was a hit. It was just about the kind of the same as the last one, to be honest with you, and I predicted it would be a hit. The Nun. This is the lowest budget movie on this. And now the marketing of this one wouldn't be as high, so you have to kind of take that into ratio. So the production budget of that one was 22 million, and I think you'd need to do, you know, I would say 55 to 60 million to kind of class it as to break even. It did 360 million worldwide, so that's obviously a huge hit, and I predicted it would be a hit. Rampage, this one had a production budget of 120 million, and so I estimate it would need to do a worldwide gross of 360 million to break even. This one was a hit, really. It did 426 million, so it was a hit, but it was just a hit, I would say. It was kind of a hair's breadth away from a meh performance. I actually predicted this one would be a bomb, however. Pacific Rim 2, it's kind of a similar story actually. This one had 150 million production budget. So when it's all said and done, it would need to do kind of 350 kind of million to kind of break even. It did 290, so it was a miss, and I actually predicted it would be a miss. To be honest with you, this one, though it's not far off. It's not. You could class this as a meh. It didn't make that much of a loss, but it was a loss. Tomb Raider. This one had a $94 million budget and so it needed to do 230 million in regards to making its whole budget back worldwide. It did 273, so that's a meh performance really. It was a very minor kind of made a small amount of profit, but I actually predicted it would be a bomb. So that is my results basically for the box office and how I predicted. So I got, you know, I probably got the majority right, that I was way off on a couple. I probably will do this again for 2019. Anyway, what are your thoughts out of those movies? Did you think anyone would be a bomb? Did you think anyone would be a hit that wasn't? Please leave a comment and I'll look forward to you next time. Bye for now.